But of course our search, or adventure, did continue, and we went even further. Now at this point we would explored the first level and the second level, but somehow we made our way to the roof. And at this point, when you're on the roof, you're pretty high up off the ground, because the thing is, these levels are pretty huge. So we got up to this roof, and it had kind of that, I don't know, like tar tiles, whatever they were, just long, just the kind of covering. It was like, I think it was kind of like tar or something like that. I don't know what they cover it, what they call it. It's like roofing, tar pit, roofing, whatever it was. But somehow we were able to climb up. We might have found stairs inside, or probably one of those like stairs you kind of climb up and pop open a latch. And we were on the roof. Now this was kind of cool because we, for the first time, could really see all around the area. And I think we had some sort of idea of the rest of the facility, because even though this one section was not being used, the rest of it actually was still in use. Not today, they closed it back in like 2006. But this area was dead, but the other area was still being used. So it was kind of cool to see that. We didn't go that far down the roof because often you don't want to see if you're going to be seen, so we tried to stay away from that area. That was a little too far out of bounds. But our next thing was to, like, now we could use the roof to get into rooms we hadn't gotten into before. So we were burrowing through the roof, again, bring tools, and then kind of like finding ways to get down into these other rooms. And you had to make sure if you got into the room that you can get back out of the room, because I think there was enough drop that if you dropped down into the room and there was no way out, you were kind of stuck unless we brought ropes. And I don't think we brought ropes. We didn't bring that many tools. So we had to make sure, that was a bit of a risk going into these rooms, because that would have been kind of embarrassing, having to kind of like run home and say, you know, Joey's stuck in a room. Yeah. But it wasn't just going up, it was also going down. There was a basement, and this had one of probably the coolest basement I'd ever been in, I think. It was like kind of near one end. The building was huge. I mean, a huge, long building. It was very, very wide, or long, I guess you kind of say. And at one point, we found a way to kind of go on the other side of the building and walk around and go down into the building, into the basement area. So you got down to the basement, there's these cold, dank rooms, totally different smell now. So it was kind of that dank, decaying smell. And you can go from room to room. They were all open. They were all connected. Like these, each one had a doorway. So you can go from room to room. It's also extremely dark. So the first time we actually went down there, I don't think we went very far, because it was like pitch black at some point. There was hardly any light coming in. They each had like probably a little bit of a window, but it was pretty dark. So the next time out, of course, we brought flashlights, and now it was time to explore the basement. We had gone to one end, and then it was time to go to the other end. And around the middle, we discovered like what almost seems like one of those Stephen King type furnaces, just a huge, huge boiler or furnace room, and this massive machine like was against the wall, and I guess it must have heated the entire building at one point. Didn't work now. But and there wasn't much to do with it. I mean, it was just this big, just kind of like a dead piece of machinery, but it was just so cool just to see all the ducts coming out different directions. So we kind of eventually walked each kind of added one room at a time, and kind of went down farther and farther. I think there were signs that other people had been there at that point. You can just kind of see a few things lying around. But you kind of had to be more daring and kind of go down the entire way until you got to the end. I think we went to only the end maybe one or two times, and you kind of want to come back, because even though we were pretty brave, it still got a little bit scarier and scarier the farther you went down these dark basements. Again, it was kind of like your video games, but in real life. Now, there were a few other rooms we discovered. One was sort of I think I mentioned there's an industrial room. This room was locked, but it had just this massive industrial equipment, like these huge fans and these giant motors and engines and things like that they probably used in other buildings for manufacturing, whatever. There wasn't much to do with that. It was just kind of neat to explore, but I don't know, we weren't really into taking things, but there wasn't much to take. I mean, you couldn't exactly lift an industrial-sized fan anyway. But the explorations continued, and what we eventually did was kind of started leaving the main building and kind of going off. I think there was like stacks and stacks of supplies or equipment that forklift operators had put into place, and as we kind of crawled over, I don't know, just one day, we, and this was kind of reminded me of Lost, just because at some point you realize you're not alone. There's others out there, other people on the island or in the prison. And so we kind of went on these like big stacks or like supply drops. And as we kind of crawled around, all of a sudden we just saw people working. Because early we'd gone on weekends. We mostly gone on weekends, but now we started with summertime, so we were going on weekdays. And then when you saw the people kind of working in hard hats and calling out things, we realized we're kind of some kids that are kind of out of bounds or off limits. So we kind of scurried back. We didn't want to spy too much because again, if you're seeing people, they can see you. We didn't exactly have binoculars or anything like that. So coming back, we kind of got out of there pretty fast, and that point, that was mainly it. I think I don't know if there were many trips after that. We'd kind of explored everything. Summer kind of came to an end. And went back to school, and I don't know what grade we were in, but eventually, when we got into high school, we wouldn't really come back. We came back like one final time. It was an evening, early evening, I guess. We just told some new friends about it, and they said, "Hey, we got to go check this place out." It was almost like on a dare. So we said, "Okay." So we got in the car, and it parked pretty close, and then walked the rest of the way. And again, it was night. I mean, that one night light was still on, but this was like complete dark. I think we had flashlights, and it's a little scarier now because even though we were older, it was like a sense of like we can get in a lot more trouble. And so, what are we doing here? Someone even might have like taken something. I don't remember, but that was the last time. That was the last trip out there to explore the place. And I still try, and once in a while I get the urge to look it up on Google Maps, and I find out it's gone. Place closed down, and the whole kind of lot of land was rezoned, and there's houses there now. I can't even find I was trying to find like what was the house that was originally gone to kind of get through by looking at the dates, 1962, 62, 62, because there was really old houses, and look for the one that was built in like, I don't know, 2008. I haven't been able to find it, so. But it was a good adventure. And again, the prison, and I still have a memento, a big scar across my thumb. That's how I kind of remember it today. Nothing else. It was all just the memories of being a kid and riding those bikes on one, fine, I don't know, maybe spring afternoon, and just parting the grass and just seeing this like big tall building that was called the prison. First thing is I have managed to locate the place where the house was missing. So I kind of looked at the dates on Zillow. Zillow helped out for that, and I found the construction dates were like in the 60s, 68, 68, 68. And then I think second thing that's helped was the advancement of AI art, because I could make recreations of the place, just describe what I saw. It's not perfect, but it kind of helps. It's kind of a cool way to, I don't know, relate to what's on my mind to what's in there, but and I think as advancements go there, maybe I'll even get to the point where I can sketch out and draw and have it, recreate the place. But even my memory, it's been. And finally, what happened in 2022 is I got a hold of the original diary that I kept. I hadn't realized it, but for a year of my life, I think from going on from like 12 to 13 or something like that, 8th grade into high school, that was the time where we explored the place. Well, it turned out like on the very first or second day of my diary, maybe that's what inspired it, I started writing down about the prison. So that's been kind of cool to kind of look through, and that talked about the adventures, cutting my hand and exploring and going with friends and who we went with, and getting told not to go there and all that stuff. So that was in there, and maybe in the future I'll actually put more of those pages on there. I don't know, we'll see. For now, I just want to be done, upload everything, and move on to another adventure. So thanks for watching. Cheers.